The Boogeyman is a 2023 film directed by Rob Savage and based on a short story by asshole Stephen King. Sadie and Sawyer lost their mother unexpectedly and haven't come to terms with not being able to say goodbye to her before she passed away. Will, her husband, on the other hand, is having a hard time dealing with the fact that his wife has passed away in general and can't communicate anything how he feels with his kids, and he happens to be a psychologist. With all this sadness and depression lurking within their home, all of a sudden they find themselves with this dark entity that hides within the shadows of the home, which is only referred to as the Boogeyman. And he plagues families that are dealing with this sort of post-traumatic trauma. Surprisingly enough, or maybe not surprisingly enough, I really enjoyed this film. It kept me on the edge of my seat, but not in the way you think. It's kind of like I was sitting there in the theater, and I constantly had this tense, worried, nervousness, but it was internal. It wasn't external, I wasn't sitting there nervous about something's gonna happen. Everything was happening to me internally. I'm sitting there nervously watching, wondering what's going to happen, especially with Sawyer, because she was so small and she gets fucked up. This movie does not hold back, and they're like, nah, it doesn't matter, she's a little kid, she's gonna get fucked up. Chris Messina, by the way, plays the father. He's a psychiatrist or a psychologist, so I wasn't really sure which one. But I like his portrayal as a father who can't deal with his daughters, or not that it's their daughters. He can't deal with bringing up his wife's passing or dealing with them in that regard at all, because what you find out later on is that he can deal with it himself. He never expected to be a single father. And he couldn't deal with this unexpected tragedy that they had, which all are like this. They haven't come to terms with her passing. Will wants to move on, but the daughters don't want to. They want to talk about it before they can move on. And in the backdrop is this fucking monster that is just terrorizing this family. And you see that it's terrorized another family prior to this. Polka Dot Man from the Suicide Squad comes in and he says, which was eerie. The most disturbing thing happens in the beginning of the movie that kind of makes you unsettled for the whole movie, is a baby's death. So you don't see it's off camera, but you know that's what happened. It's so fucking sick, and my stomach churns thinking about it now. But it happens. It's just what? You already know. Oh, this is gonna be bad. And that's how I felt throughout the entire film. I just felt my stomach churning. I felt uncomfortable. I was nervous. This monster's disgusting looking. It's a great design. Chris Messina, you're seeing him now everywhere. I remember when he was in the movie Devil, he was the lead in that, and that was a big deal for him because prior to that, he just had bit parts. I think he was a friend of Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. And Sophie Thatcher, who's in Yellow Jackets, I believe she plays Juliette Lewis's character on that show. But she's good in this. In the beginning, I was annoyed with her, but no, she's pretty good in this. She comes off as the daughter that is still dealing with her mom's loss, still sad, but having to step up and take over her mother's role in the house. And there's a lot of paranormal things in this, a little bit, which is interesting. This guy, Rob Savage, he also directed a movie Host during the pandemic, which I didn't see. So I'm going to go check that out. Yeah. All in all, this is a really, really good film, in my opinion. I was highly surprised with how much I enjoyed it. I think I'll give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. Almost a 5-star film. I'm very surprised because I wasn't expecting it at all. I was expecting this not to be anything good. To be honest, I was expecting this to be a trash film. And I wanted to review this for the past week, but I was working on another video, so that's why this review is late. But I wanted to review this because I did enjoy this film. It's not your typical horror film. It's a unique film. And when I say it keeps you on your edge of your feet, you're going to be like, oh, what are you talking? It's a weird way of explaining it, but that's how it felt. But there's so many feelings it gave me. I'm telling you, this is a really good film. I'm very surprised. If a movie could get me anything, it gets points, because I've been numb to the whole violent horror, the jump scares, blood, gore, everything like that, because I've been watching horror films since I was fucking 5 years old. So for this movie to get me anything nervous that something's gonna happen, kind of like in Evil Dead Rise when I was nervous for the little girl, but I was nervous every time it was dark, and it was dark throughout a lot of portions of this film. So anyway, yeah, I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this film. yeah, check it out. If you haven't seen it and you want to see something this weekend, check this movie out. Don't go see Transformers. Fuck that shit. And the reason why I'm giving this movie a 4.5 stars out of 5 stars is because the mythology of the creatures never really delved into. So we're kind of not really getting any backstory on how this creature exists or where it came from. It just manifested. It just goes after and plagues families that are dealing in internal or emotional turmoil, and that's it. It doesn't get into any of the mythology behind the creature at all. So that's why 4.5 out of 5 stars. Still, really great film. If you saw this movie, let me know down below in the comment section. I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.